Assalamu alaikum, my wonderful viewers. I welcome you to Fombia Fashion and Design. Subscribe to our channel, like, share, and share our videos. So I started by marking my armhole measurement, which is 8, and my half length is 15. So this is my armhole, and that's my half length, which is 15. I measured the back 8 inches for the back and measure 1 inches for the shoulder slope and connect it to the neck. So that's my armhole. I put in my bust measurement divided by 4, which I mark, and my waist measurement divided by 4, which I also mark, and add 1 inch for the darts. Then connect it to each other. I divided my armhole by 2, which is 4, and I go inward by half an inch to connect to the shoulder. That's my front armhole. I connected it with a dash line. That's the front armhole. I added 2 inches sewing allowance for both the bust and the waist. I mark my neckline. The width is 3.5 inches, and the back neckline is 2 inches length, whilst the front neckline is 4.5 inches. Then I connected it to the shoulder. I mark my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches, which is 8 inches divided by 2, and which is 4 inches. And I mark from the shoulder to my nipple line, which is 9. So I connected my dart. I connected my dart by marking half inches from the waist. Then I connected my 1 inch dart. So this is my 1 inch dart. So I cut the shoulder slope, Then I connected my back amp hood. I forget to connect the back amp hood, so I did that, which is the deep line, and now I'm cutting it. So I put the pattern on a pattern paper to cut the same thing for the back. So the back pattern is the same as the front pattern. The difference is just the arm hood and the neckline. So now I'm cutting the neckline for the back. After cutting the neckline for the back, then I will separate my pattern. So this is the back pattern, and that's my center back, which I mark back on it, and this is my front. So now I'm cutting the front neckline and the front arm hood. So I mark 1.5 inches at the down. Then I measure from the shoulder to my arm hood 3.5. Then I mark it. Sorry, from the shoulder to the armpit I mark 5.5 inches, and I connected it to the 1.5 inches I mark at the waist. So I connected it to each other. So now I am cutting it to separate my yoke from the main. So I'm now cutting my yoke. So this is my yoke. So I'm cutting my back yoke, and I measure the same 5.5 inches from the shoulder to the arm hood, and I connected it to the center back. So I'll cut my back yoke too. So I'm using lace fabric for the yoke, and I've put my pattern on full. The front is on full, the center front is on full. So I put in half inches allowance, that's sewing allowance that I left there. As you can see, this is my front. This is my back. I left a half inch allowance for the back to my sewing allowance, and the zip side too, where I'll be putting my zip, the center back. I left half inches for the sewing allowance, as you can see. I cut two of it for the side. My yoke was cut and fold. So this is my front, as you can see. That's my front. This is my back. So I open up my back, as you can see. So this is how it is going to be. And the center back, I'll be putting in my zip there. So that's where I'll be facing my zip. So now we are finished with the top part of the dress. So let's cut the down part. I'm sorry, my camera was off whilst I was cutting the downside. So I decided to use this fabric to show you how I cut the downside of the dress. So I started by folding my Ankara fabric like a square, sorry, like a triangle. I fold it like a triangle. Then I measure my waist. I'm marking my waist there. I divided my waist into four parts. Then I I divided it by 4. Then I mark it plus 1 inch allowance for the side. So I measure the length that I need. The full length I used for this dress was 57. But remember, the top part was 15 inches. So we remove 15 inches from 57, which we left with 42 inches. So I mark 42 inches plus 1.5 sewing allowance. So 1 inch for the sewing allowance of the flare, the down flare, and the half inch is for joining the waist to the top. So that's what I'm marking. So I'm marking my length and the curve of the flare. So I'm cutting the down part of the flare. So this is for the back. As you can see, whilst I was cutting, there was a shortage of fabric there, which we'll cut it later. So this is for the back. We cut another one for the front. So I'm going to put the back flare on the fabric, then I'll cut another flare for the front. So I cut the waistline and the side. So I've cut the front flare. So now we are going to cut for the shortage place. As you can see, we have to cut the shortage place. So that's what you're going to do now. So I put the material on it, then I put the side flare on it where I get a full flare. So I put it on it, then I cut it. So I've cut it. I've finished cutting it. So this is it. But I have to cut two of it for the front and the back, as you can see. So I'm going to put it on the fabric, then I'll cut another one. So now I'm going to pin it to each other. So I'm pinning it to each other. So we have now finished cutting. So please check on my next video for the sewing. Like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching.